Let's begin with our big focus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and European allies pressed Donald Trump on security guarantees for Kyiv as part of a peace deal with Russia. But this landmark gathering at the White House was far warmer than the last time Zelenskyy visited Washington and clashed with Donald Trump. Both men have expressed hope for three-way talks with Putin aimed at ending the war, though fraught issues like territorial lines and the presence of NATO troops in Ukraine could pose hurdles to peace. Let me just break it down for you though. The on-camera portions, as you can see on your screens, of both of Monday's meetings were friendly in tone, particularly compared to Zelenskyy's disastrous visit in February. The Ukrainian president described it as his best meeting with Trump so far. The European leaders, meanwhile, praised Trump's efforts for peace while prodding him to reconsider his decision to stop pushing Putin for a ceasefire and instead jump straight to a negotiating comprehensive deal. Trump also said the US would be involved in providing post-war security guarantees for Kyiv. He didn't rule out sending US troops, though he said that Europeans would be the first in line of defense. But these discussions around security guarantees seem to strike a nerve in Moscow. Meanwhile, coming in fresh, Germany's Merz has confirmed Zelenskyy and Putin are likely to meet within 2 weeks. Just listen in to Donald Trump and Zelenskyy's reactions, followed by Nick Harper's detailed report.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelenskyy, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelenskyy of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that. I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept, you know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
President Zelenskyy, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, you know, we live under each day attacks. You know that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support, American and European partners. And we will do our best for this. So. And I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war. And we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Well, there was lots of talking at Monday's White House meetings, but it's unclear exactly how much was decided upon. Perhaps the greatest success was not seeing a repeat of what we saw in February, that Oval Office bust-up between the US president and the Ukrainian leader, when the Ukrainian delegation was told to leave the White House early. On Monday, though, Donald Trump saw a whole range of European leaders standing ready to show their support for Ukraine. And Volodymyr Zelenskyy, having that backing, was able to push forward on a key number of ideas, in particular security guarantees that Zelenskyy says are crucial for Ukraine's future. Now, Russia has ruled out the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO, But Ukraine might get security guarantees similar to those that NATO members enjoy. That Article 5, whereby other NATO members stand ready to defend a NATO member if it is attacked. Ukraine might get something like that. There's also the possibility of potentially a peacekeeping force in Ukraine, including US troops. But remember, Russia has also ruled that out so far. Donald Trump spoke on the phone for about 40 minutes with the Russian leader during the course of Monday's meetings, trying to push the idea of a two-way meeting between President Putin and President Zelenskyy. The Kremlin, though, doesn't seem fully on board with the idea. Donald Trump is hoping that it could take place in the coming weeks at an unspecified location. He says that he would then join for a three-way meeting afterwards with those two leaders. Some of the more sensitive issues, including how to divide up territory, those are decisions that will take place another day. We're told that territory was discussed in granular detail. There was even a map that the leaders were poring over. But it's unclear what Russia might keep or might give up as part of any concessions in the overall peace agreement. And then this idea of a ceasefire, something that Zelenskyy says needs to happen, and many Europeans agree with him on this matter, before there could be a peace agreement. Donald Trump just says there needs to be a peace agreement rather than an interim truce. That seems to be another sensitive issue that will need to be decided another day. There were plenty of very positive remarks after this meeting, all of the leaders saying that it was a success, that they made progress. It's just unclear exactly what was decided upon that might take Ukraine further down the road towards peace. Nick Harper, NDTV, Washington.